Hey guys, this is BiXX. Welcome to Mentoring Monday. In my latest BiXX World video, I play a virtual set outside of the Roman Colosseum at the Forum. The theme of the show is called the 4 Pillars of Strength. One of the pillars of strength is emotional strength. So today I'd like to dive into that topic a little more. So today's topic is called emotional intelligence. Of all the 4 pillars of strength, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, I bet the one we all struggle with the most is emotional strength. How many emotional rants do we see on Facebook and Instagram? How many rants have we seen this week about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars? Do you think these people have emotional intelligence? Do you think Will Smith practiced emotional intelligence? I bet he wished he did. Sometimes I practice emotional control, and I control a conversation with my calmness using carefully thought out words. Other times, I allow my emotions to come out and make the situation worse, when I should have given the situation maybe 24 hours before I responded. So what is emotional intelligence? Let's talk about what it means. Emotional intelligence refers to the ability to identify and manage one's own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. Emotional intelligence is generally said to include these 3 skills: emotional awareness, or the ability to identify and name one's own emotions, the ability to harness those emotions and apply them to tasks like thinking and problem solving, and 3, the ability to manage emotions, which includes regulating one's own emotions when necessary and helping others to do the same. So why should we care about emotional intelligence? For this conversation, I'm going to call it EQ. Just like IQ stands for cognitive skills, EQ will stand for emotional skills. The people that have high EQs make better life choices, have better interpersonal relationships, less drama, are better parents, are more successful at work, and make exceptional business owners and leaders. So EQ is largely based on 4 principles. And if you have all of them, you're a highly emotionally intelligent person. Number 1, self-awareness. You know what creates an emotional response for you. You understand your gut feelings and what triggers your emotions, and where your emotions intersect with your own thoughts and behavior. What does all that mean? So if you start to feel anxious, you can recognize it and the cause. And better yet, you know what to do. For example, when I feel that knot in my stomach, someone's really stressing me out with what they're saying, and their emotions are getting the best of me, I know that if I respond right away, I'm going to lose control of the situation and possibly say something that I regret. So what do I do in this situation? Well, I kind of want to disarm the other person, so how do I do that? I would often repeat what the other person said to make sure I've heard them correctly. This makes that person feel better, and that because I'm listening. Then I ask, well, why do you feel that way? And I've talked about the 5 whys in the past. You keep asking why several times till you get to the root cause of the problem. Then I can better understand the other person's frustrations and what's causing them. By asking questions, I'm not defending and making the problem worse. It can often diffuse the situation. Plus, I stay in control. And I also take a couple of deep breaths before I speak, just to kind of helps me relax. The second principle of EQ is self-management. This is when you know what to do to use your emotions to guide and direct your behavior. For me, it's not responding right away and collecting my thoughts. Like I just mentioned, making sure I properly understand what the person is saying and apply the 5 whys to get to the root of the problem. I have to figure out a way to get to that root cause and stay emotionally in control of the situation. If I'm asking the questions, the other person feels like I'm genuinely concerned and I care, and they usually will, tell me what I want to hear. Tell me the answers that I'm looking for. So that really helps. If I lose it emotionally during this conversation, then the whole thing just blows up and it gets worse. So staying calm and in control is so critical. Another example is anger. It's a common emotion, and circumstances in life will anger you at times. The key is how you recognize and how you use anger in a way that allows you to respond productively versus destructively. I'll often ask myself, what's making me angry? How do I gain control of this situation? Does it help me to be angry at the person on the phone who's trying to help me? No, it doesn't. Most of the times I get angry, it's when like the power company's overcharging me, or there's companies that constantly put charges on your credit card bill, and then you have to call and the person's trying to help you, and you can't be angry with them because they're trying to help. So get control of that anger. The third EQ principle is empathy. This is huge. I've done an entire talk on empathy. Personally, I think empathy is one of the most important qualities one can have when it comes to building strong relationships and building a great team to maximize your abilities. You raise your EQ by learning how to place yourself in the other person's shoes, and by being able to relate to situational factors that lead to emotional responses. One of my qualities that has made me successful is that I push people very hard to achieve their potential. But I must care for them and understand their situation, understand who they are, what motivates them, what are they afraid of, what holds them back. I learned this because I have empathy. A great leader must have empathy. An example of a leader with no empathy is Vladimir Putin, the vicious dictator from Russia. He is the opposite empathy. Mother Teresa is a great example of someone who had a huge amount of empathy. The fourth EQ principle is the ability to build relationships. We understand how to help others manage their emotions and how to use our emotional awareness to navigate, build, and maintain these positive relationships. We cannot do everything ourselves. We must have the ability to build teams around ourselves. I've talked about this over and over. And we do this through the ability of understanding other people's needs and emotion, especially the emotional needs, and helping them fulfill those needs while we benefit from the relationship. I've had several people over the years tell me that I'm the voice of reason. Well, I'm certainly not perfect, and I've made my fair share of mistakes, but I do understand and I do my best to employ these four principles of emotional intelligence that help me stay in control of the situation and create and live win-win relationships. I hope I've given you some insight into how important it is to have emotional strength. It's just incredibly important. And more specifically, emotional intelligence. So until next week, this is BiXX signing off, and remember, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. Cheers.